Patient who's really struggling to breathe. Mastering high-flow nasal cannula is absolutely essential. This is your guide to getting it right every single time, focusing on the key details that make all the difference. But before we dive in, let me ask you something. When you walk up to that machine ready to start therapy, what's the very first choice you have to make? I mean, the one decision that, if you get it wrong, can make the whole treatment fail, or even worse, actually harm your patient.
And that question? Well, the answer leads us right here to what I call the cannula golden rule. It sounds simple, but trust me, getting the size right from the get-go is everything. It's the foundation for the entire therapy. And the secret to that golden rule? It all boils down to this one number: 50%. Seriously, this single number is the key to the whole shebang. If you only remember one thing from this entire explainer, make it this. So what does this mean in practice? It's simple. The prongs of the cannula should only fill up about half of the nostril. Why? Because you want a leak. You heard me right. That little bit of extra space acts like a safety valve. It lets some air escape, which is crucial for preventing a dangerous amount of pressure from building up in the lungs. And look, this is where getting that 50% rule wrong becomes a really big deal. If the cannula is too big, it's like putting a cork in the nose. There's no leak, pressure builds and builds, and you could actually injure the patient's lungs. But on the flip side, if it's too small, way too much air leaks out, all that helpful oxygen and pressure just escapes into the room, and your therapy does, well, pretty much nothing. Okay, so let's make this practical. You can see here that each cannula size is built to handle a certain amount of flow. A tiny premature cannula might max out around 8 liters per minute, while a pediatric one can go up to 25. The big takeaway is this: the size of the cannula you pick sets the speed limit for your flow. So to lock this all in, here is your super simple memory trick. For your exams, for your next shift, just burn this into your brain. Half the nose, safe flow goes. If you remember that, you've already nailed the most important step. All right, awesome. You've picked the right size. You've got it fitted perfectly. So what's next? Now we've got to actually dial in the settings on the machine. And don't worry, it's a really straightforward 4-step process. Now let's break this down. The most important setting, the real workhorse of this therapy, is the flow. You're going to start high, at 1 to 2 liters per kilogram per minute. This high flow is brilliant. It acts like a gentle leaf blower, clearing out used air from the airway and providing just a little bit of positive pressure to help keep the lungs open. After you set the flow, you adjust the oxygen, or FiO2, to get their sats where you want them. And the last two, temperature and humidity, those are for comfort and safety. Just set them to body temp and 100% humidity. Easy. And here's a super helpful little chart to give you a starting point for flow rates in kids based on their weight. It's a great guide. But remember our rule from before, and this is non-negotiable. You can never, ever set the flow higher than the maximum limit for the cannula size you've chosen. Okay, you've set everything up perfectly. The cannula is in, the machine is humming. Now comes the moment of truth. How do you actually know if all this is working? Or more importantly, when do you know it's failing and you need to do something else? Well, the answer is all in that first hour. I really can't stress this enough. This isn't something you set and forget. That first hour is your golden window. It's when you decide if you're winning or if you need to escalate to a higher level of support. The whole game is won or lost right here. So what are you looking for? This right here is your decision-making cheat sheet. On the left, we've got the signs of success. The heart rate is coming down, they're breathing slower, they just look more comfortable. That awful tugging you saw at their neck and ribs is starting to fade. That's a win. But on the right, you've got the red flags. They're still breathing way too fast, they still look like they're working incredibly hard, and you're having to crank up the oxygen just to keep their numbers okay. That's a clear sign of failure, and it's time to act. All right, let's bring this all home. We're going to do a rapid-fire summary of the absolute must-know facts. This is the stuff that I want to be stuck in your head for your exams, and more importantly, for the next time you're at a patient's bedside. First up, the 3 rules of picking your cannula. Rule number 1, size it to about 50% of the nostril. Rule 2, match that size to the patient's age and weight. And rule number 3, always, always respect the max flow limit for that cannula. And here it is, the entire workflow on a single checklist. To start, you set your flow, your oxygen, your temp, and your humidity. Then, at the 1-hour mark, you check. Is their breathing and heart rate getting better? Is their oxygen improving? It's a simple yes or no question that tells you everything you need to know. And finally, if you only take one single sentence away from all of this, please make it this one. This is your entire strategy, your safety net, all rolled into one.
Start high flow, reassess in 1 hour, and escalate if there's no response. Nail that, and you'll know exactly what to do.